Am I on there yet? Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Tuesday, September 27th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. We're at the Merit Center this evening, and welcome everyone that's came. The meeting is being recorded and transmitted via cable television, and as we do at every meeting, please stand and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a fairly light schedule, but I think we'll have some longer discussion points tonight, so we'll get moving right into it. Our first item on the agenda tonight is an interview with for the Cultural Council for Aaron Howard, and I assume Aaron is right there. Aaron, if you come up to the podium and just introduce yourself, tell us where you live, and explain why you'd like to be a member of the Cultural Council.
Hi, I'm Erin Howard. I live at 45 Parsons Ave. I'm applying to be a member of the Cultural Council. I grew up in Wakefield, and I was involved in the orchestra and the band and drama and the different arts programs in Wakefield. So it's always been something that's really important.
Excuse me, Aaron, can you just turn on the mic there too, on the bottom? There's just a little button there. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Better?
Yeah, thank you.
And so I'm a lawyer. I've been pretty busy for the past 10 years. Haven't really been able to get involved in the community as much as I would have liked to. We moved to Linfield 3 years ago, and I actually just had my second baby. I'm staying home for a bit, so I figured this would be a great opportunity to serve, give back, and get more involved in the community.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, and congratulations on the babies, and
Thank you.
and also on the extensive law career you've had so far. I'm very familiar with these law firms. I work with them in Boston,
Okay.
and so I was impressed with the moving up the ranks, and now at like many of the professional moms we have in town, we get the benefit of you helping out with the town. So that really does keep things moving along here, and we get a lot of projects and good people on our boards from that. So I appreciate you devoting your time to the town and offering that to us. And I'd open up to my board members. Anyone have any questions or comments for Aaron?
No.
No? No? Well, in that case, I'd take a motion to appoint Aaron to the Cultural Council.
Make a motion to appoint Aaron Howard to the Linfield Cultural Council.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aaron,
Great.
welcome aboard, and
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. The next item we have tonight is we have a resignation on our Recreation Commission. Frank DeLisi, who was a longtime member of our rec board, has moved out of town. So as our rules suggest, that you cannot no longer be on these boards. So he has resigned. Again, I would like to thank Frank for his years of service. I've gotten to know him pretty well over the years, and he put a lot of time and effort and was a great asset for the rec board. In the light of that, we have a new member that has come forward to be interviewed for his position. For the rec commission, we have a Michael Cuddy. I knew there's a reason you were sitting right in front. Yeah. Michael, go over there, introduce yourself. Give us your address. Tell us why you'd love to be on the rec commission.
Good evening. My name is Michael Cuddy. I live at 1 New Meadow Road. I've been in town for 9 years. I'm the outgoing commissioner of Linfield men's softball by choice. There's a replacement. And I still coach baseball, flag football, and lacrosse, and I'm involved with the Cub Scouts in town, so I'm just happy to give of my time. So that's why I'm interviewing for the position.
Michael, again, thank you for doing that. We appreciate what you've done so far, and also applying for this position. The rec commission is very active. As we've increased the capacity in the town for sports, we've certainly added many programs through the rec commission, and they can certainly use your talent and expertise. I've also gotten a letter of recommendation from the chairman of the rec commission, and on behalf of the entire board, they have forwarded that to us as a recommendation that you do get added to their board. So with that in hand, I'd open it up to my board and any comments or questions from my board members? No? No?
No.
Well, in that case, I'd take a recommendation to add Michael Cuddy to the rec board.
I'll make a motion to appoint Michael Cuddy to the Linfield Recreation Commission.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Happy.
Good
All
luck.
right, good luck with it.
Thank you, Michael.
Next, we have the golf clubhouse design presentation. We have the Savastas here from CCS. And would you like to come up to the podium, or how would you like to best present? Okay.
This is fine. I'm John Savasta. I'm the president of CSS Architects. In front of me is Kaya Savasta. She's the treasurer and vice president and lead architect on the majority of the projects that we have in our firm. And today we're here to bring you up to date in the progress of the Linfield Golf Club building. And we have a little slideshow for you just to go through the process that we've been, where we are, where we want to go with the project, and open it up to any questions that you folks feel you want to ask us. Just to bring you up to date on what we've been doing and what has been done before us, that the previous work order was to get this property through the Conservation Commission and to have an order of condition offered to the town for placing this proposed golf club building on the site. From that point, we received beside that, I just wanted to show you that is the site behind you. It's you can see that there's the little pointer doesn't work, but that's there's this is coming down the road and walking onto the area where the cars park in the golf course. The building is going to be located, as you look at the top photograph, you'll see one of the golf carts sort of coming in and turning right around that grass area. The golf club building will be located in approximately that location. These are the drawings that we've been working off of. This is the civil engineer's documents for the Conservation Commission's review and approval, and the order of conditions were provided for that design. You can see, and it's very, very difficult to see on this drawing, so bear with me on this because I have a hard time trying to figure out what that all about is. So it's, but the building is sort of right at about 7 o'clock from the 9th hole. Yeah, just right about there. And the building footprint was established, and it was actually staked out, so you can go out and see where that is. We also had a second part to this. Is as you can see, the roadway into that site area is 400 feet long, and has to be completely repaved and regraded to accommodate the water flow coming off that amount of impervious surface. In order for us to sort of get our rounds around what the site would look like, as if we were a pedestrian coming onto this building, we took the civil engineer's drawings and we embellished them with the grassed areas, with the location of the 9th hole, with the golf club building, and where all the parking is going to go. Also, there's a couple of buildings that are your butters that we were very interested in accommodating access to the smaller building that's down at about 4 o'clock from the rendering at the top. Now, the building to the lower left is the golf club building as it is proposed today. It's going to be a building that's going to have a slab on grade. The original design called for 8 to 9 feet of fill to be brought into the site, raise the building up, and allow for access under the building for the greens equipment, storage, and maintenance. In doing so, we found that we could not really reach access to the the smaller building, which has a drive to it and a garage into it. So we propose to drop the site down with the intention of also saving some money in the process of doing that. Take the Greens Equipment Building out from under the building and put it on the site above the building you see with the green roof. And the Greens Equipment Building is the building that's on the upper left-hand corner. That's a pre-engineered metal building. It's approximately 3,000 square feet. The golf club building is going to be a wood frame, stick-built slab-on-grade building with a hip roof. The inside of the building is going to include sort of the expected facilities that you would have a bar, an eating area, outside little dining area, a kitchen, a pro shop, and a pro shop manager's office. The building, as you can see from the aerial view, is facing in its corner of the intersections of the two masses of the building towards the ninth hole. And so we orientated all of the view areas and vistas so that the people who are sitting in the patio and people that are sitting in the restaurant are looking out at the ninth hole in and beyond. The golf club, the Greens building, the Greens Equipment Storage Building, is sort of tucked around the corner on the upper part of the site. And we're looking at that building as sort of an agricultural type structure that there's a couple, if you want to go look at them. One of them is the Tedesco Country Club in Swampscott, and has a building very, very similar to that. It's a Butler type building. I think they built a Butler building. And it looks very agricultural, and it sort of fits in the area very well. That also is a slab on grade, and it will accommodate all of the Greens equipment under one roof. And it would allow them to have a repair and a storage area for doing some of the repairs to the equipment during the winter months. The plan is to have all of the areas to the left of that vertical wall over to the going left to be unheated space. So it'll be non-environmentally treated space. That would be for equipment that's being lawnmowers, tractors, tractors accessories, special lawnmowers and special cutting equipment would be stored in there. But the greenskeeping mechanics will be able to work in the coal mines to the space to the left, and we'd heat that with unit heaters. And that would be about only 20% of the total building expense. Now, if you look to the upper right-hand corner, which I probably should have in front of me too, but I don't, but we came up with some, let me take a think, with some costs for each of these buildings. And a description for each building. The golf club building, we had a construction cost estimator take a look at this and come up with an $850,000 to $900,000 cost for the building, and that doesn't include the tables and chairs and kitchen equipment. The concept that we've created here allows for the kitchen space to move in and out of area depending upon what kind of vendor comes to the building to set up his business, so that space could be also used for other uses for the golf club building. But right now, we made it generous enough to include, a hood and a grill and a sink area and a storage area, walk-in coolers and walk-in freezers. So it's a generous space, but I think it's probably more than what you would find for a building of this size and for a service of this size. I had a chance to talk to, interesting, I went down there one morning on a Saturday morning. My office is right up the street from this. And there was a bunch of people coming in from the, one of their, I guess they have clubs that Saturday morning. Oh, there must have been 40 or 50 people. There was a lot of people, and they were drinking and eating and having a great time. asked me what I was doing down there, taking pictures, and I told them, I'm thinking of building this building and for the town. And they came up with, a couple of very quick, directions for me. Number one, we gotta have a bar, we gotta have outside seating. We definitely have all kinds of drinks, food. But we want to have drinks. But what they wanted was to have snacks type food. They wanted to have hamburgers, hot dogs, some cold sandwiches, some warm sandwiches, stuff that would be pretty much for a takeout type of environment. In looking at that whole issue, is sort of motivated me to come up with this kind of a design where they would have the chairs type bar overlooking the ninth hole, some tables and chairs around them, and a nice place where you'd feel like you were in that environment with the golfers coming and going. If there was someone's going to come there in the afternoon like we would and have lunch, you would be part of that whole environment, which I think would be kind of nice. Plus the fact that they were very anxious about where they were going to park, where were we going to pick up the golf carts, where were they going to be able to, how they going to move in and out of the building, where they were going to pick up anything that they needed, their golf club bags. So all of those things I was able to, I didn't have the drawings with me, but I probably should have. I gave them a description of what they were going to do, and I told them they could go online. I have the building at my website, and that if they wanted to go take a look at it, they could go look at it. So there are some other people in town, other than us in this room, that knows what we're up to and what we're doing, and they just happen to be a lot of your golfers. They seem to be very excited about the new building. Now, in looking at these costs, and I know we have, and it's not unusual for me to be standing here telling you that we're always trying to meet the budgets of the towns and cities and municipalities and districts that we work for. And we look for ways to get things done. And one of the things that we're looking at is the cost of the Greens Equipment Storage Building. Originally it was going to be part of the golf club building in the basement. Now it's a freestanding building out on its own. I happen to think that's a better direction. We didn't really come up with that, but it's a much better direction that we were working towards. I think that the attitude of having that building a freestanding, standalone building, rather than a repair shop with a restaurant on the second floor. So it does right now meet the direction that we want to go in. And it has a price tag assigned to it of $650,000 to $675,000, and that includes site. So the site work on this building is astronomical. It has to do with all the factors that you saw on the civil engineer's drawings, where we have to have a subterranean water management collection system. We have to bring positive gravity to all of these areas of the site. We have to treat the water, reduce its flow, and bring it out to the wetlands. We have that 400-foot long driveway, which is unusual for a building of this size. In terms, it brings that particular little piece of the site work alone is $85,000 to $95,000, just to grade it, pave it, water manage it, and light it, and bring the utilities down to the building. So at the very bottom of my project description, we have come up with a total construction budget of $2,470,000 to $2,565,000. Now I know that's way above what you folks originally thought that this project was going to be going towards, and I'm aware of the fact that it is beyond. I think you were looking at about 1.7 million for the whole deal, and this thing is almost $800,000 more. So one of the things that maybe we want to discuss, or maybe we want to take a look at, is going forward with this, moving forward with the two buildings, but doing the Greens Equipment building as an alternate price. so that if you don't build it this year, you may be able to build it in the year after, or the year after that, or maybe on another site. But at least you'd have the architectural drawings, the construction documents to build a building, and a real construction contractor's price assigned to it. And then you can move forward with building the golf club building. So with that said, I think there are some parts of the building that may reduce in cost, because if you take the salt storage building out of the factor, there would probably be an $85,000 up to $95,000 savings off the cost of the golf club building, because we included the site cost for the storage building in its own line item, and then site cost for the golf club building in a line item. So you would save about $85,000 to $90,000 according to our construction cost estimator. So with all of that said, I think we have our arms around the situation in a way that we could move forward, get everything ready to go out to bid in the early spring or late winter, and get it under construction during I hate to say this, but during the golf season, which I don't know if that's going to be such a problem. I mean, they seem to be getting around and doing things pretty well there. But it has to be well thought out how you're going to phase that to have a building being built while you're having all these golfers go down to that location. So we would have to really phase the site work and phase the construction work to accommodate the activities of the course. And that's it.
John, thank you. I appreciate you putting the time in not only to the original plans, but the 2 or 3 iterations that we asked you to do afterwards. When you first came and we looked at this, was prior to the last town meeting. And this is for everybody to know, it came in at around 3.3 million. And I said, there's no way we're going to bring that to the town meeting or even contemplate spending $3 million for a clubhouse and a storage building on our little 9-hole golf course. So we were hoping to get this down to a reasonable number for everything we're asking for. It's still what it is. It's $2.5 million. I think one thing that got lost in your presentation was the site work alone is almost $1 million, and that's the part of this that's a little shocking to everybody. But between the road work, the infrastructure, the drainage work, Concom compliance work, and everything we need to do for that site to pave it, it would be close to $1 million to get all that done. Again, it's a beautiful building. It's been reduced in size and in scope to something that's a reasonable sized building for a small golf course. More importantly, the greens equipment building got moved to an area where it's out of sight to the residents of the Colonial Village, and it would be a better situation for the workers to work in there. We could heat it. They could work on it in the winter, work on machinery. Speaking with the director of golf, it was his opinion that the equipment building is the most important building to the operation of the golf course. He needs that building. They currently have temporary buildings down there now, which they work fine. He said if it was his choice between one or the other, he would take the equipment building so he could operate and keep his equipment in good shape. You had mentioned in the greens equipment building that the cost of that building included site work.
Yes, it did.
It does. Okay,
Yeah.
so the 650 to 675 includes the foundation.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I think we still have to look at some alternatives here. I'm still not comfortable in any way, shape, or form of bringing a $2.5 million project for that site for a 9-hole golf course that produces about $500,000 a year in revenues. We probably that probably generates $100,000 to $150,000 in operating revenues. It doesn't justify a $2.5 million building. It's not your fault. You did what we asked, and this is a beautiful rendering. I think we got where we wanted to go. I might suggest that we table this for this town meeting, and between the October and the April town meeting, we bid this out as separate projects. We bid it out as one project with everything, one with just the equipment building, and see where those bids come in. I don't want to do one with just the golf clubhouse, because that's not the most important piece. I think the equipment building is an important piece. We can work with the trailers that we have there and put in a more permanent bathroom facility there that would work. I think we'd like to get, I think I'd like to look at this as a hard number going into the April town meeting, so we can go to the residents and say, this is what this is really gonna cost us. We've bid it out, we have low bidders, and let the residents decide at that point. Because the funds that are available for this could cover this, but we don't want to deplete our entire real estate account on this golf clubhouse and equipment building. And we certainly would rather be on the lower end of the $1.5 million range to, 1.6. It was what we talked about as a maximum that we'd ever want to go. That seemed reasonable, especially after we just built the building at the high school. That was around 1.1, 1.2 million, so we knew this had to be in that range. But the amount of the site work that's required to put this in, with the two buildings is just, I don't feel is a reasonable cost to spend on a small 9-hole course that we have here for the town, where whether or not it adds any revenues or value other than a nice amenity, that still would remain to be seen. But I'd certainly like to open up to my board members and get their opinion on it, and any questions they have. Chris?
I think it's good points there, Phil. I agree with pretty much all of them. The one question I have is regarding the storage building floor plan. How does that compare to the size that we had in previous use for the 9-hole golf course? I mean, do we need something that large?
It's about the same size. If you look at the building that's right off from the town hall, but I think it's on the backside of that course, it's about the same size as that footprint. Do you need that much square footage?
And does reducing it in square footage, I mean, is there significant
Yeah,
savings or not?
The biggest problem that you have is you're building a house on an island. It's an expression, okay, that everything you're gonna do to build that house on the island is gonna cost you more money than to build it on land. You're building a building that needs $900,000 of site work to get to the front door. So you have to think through the process of, if I'm gonna spend that much money to get to the front door, which front door do I wanna walk through? And that's a pretty critical question that I don't really wanna give you the advice for that, because you folks know more about the politics in town than I have. But to go and have conservation, we'd still have to go back to Conservation Commission, we'd have to go back and do the reciting of the buildings, we'd have to go back and do all that stuff for the grounds equipment building. However, if that is the most important generator for this project, then so be it. But you're not gonna save a lot of money in doing so, because you're still gonna need to pave, you're still gonna need to have the building on the site, you're still gonna need to get access to it. Everything that we're doing on this, it was intendedly done for, we really thought about the golf building. I mean, that sort of was the motivating part of it. And the storage part was sort of secondary to the operation. However, it is two sides of this. I think you could probably build a salt storage, but the ground repairs building, and have it, fit in on the site. I don't know what the neighbors are gonna say, but you could do that. You have a look that we sort of applied to this building as being an agricultural style looking building, so I think it would fit in. I took a ride up along the road that's on the other side of the 9 holes, and actually you can't see I mean, the houses are up high enough so you're actually looking over the site. The only thing is the condos and that abut you looking down at the site. So I don't know how this would affect that. I mean, if you have to, just that, I think that, we address the building to look very similar to the buildings that are your neighbor. And I, I think that the directions for this was, we were sort of leaning towards the golf club building. And then the secondary part of it was I know that Donnie wants to, I understand why. I mean, it makes sense to me. But is there another place it could go? I mean, is that the only place in town where the building could go? I mean, it's a pretty simple looking building, and does it need to be there? And it's such an expensive site to get such an inexpensive building on its ground. So I would have to, and think about that as if I was sitting on your side of the table, maybe then the golf club building never gets built. When you spend $1 million to get to a repair shop. So, so the other thing was, maybe you think about another location for it.
Well, the other things we look at, excuse me, Dick, I'll give you a second. The other things we look at is whether or not we need to put in a fully paved road. That part of it, and the cost of
Yeah.
of a lesser road that
Yeah.
might go into that location could be a hard pack
Yeah.
type road that isn't dusty like it is now because it's so dry, but it would be a useful road for us to get in and out of this location without spending several $100,000 what it would cost to put in a paved road.
Oh, yeah, that's
So those are things that we might want to look at for this as an alternative.
Yeah, we discussed that today, Jim and I.
Yeah.
And I brought it back to my office. And I think one of the things that we would want to do immediately is find out if the firefighters would go for that. Normally they want, particularly in a building that's an industrial building like this building, they want paved access to the building to fight a fire if there's a fire there. I.e., you then have to plow, and then plowing over the gravel is a little bit of a problem. So we'd have to make sure that I think it's a good idea if you don't have to have all that impervious surfaces for this building, to go with, with an impervious, with a pervious condition versus an impervious condition. For that kind of a building, it would probably even introduce itself as being even more rural and more cultural looking for that style of building. But I would have to confirm that I can actually tell you without guessing or thinking about it. I'd have to find out for sure that you could physically do that. And will COMCOM let you do that, because they want it the way they want to manage the water and get it off. So those are the two things that, I keep on going back to the site costs. And of course, I'd like to do the building. I'd like to do the golf club building. I think it would be sensational. I think it would be exciting. I think it would have a lot of inspiration for more golfers to come. So, but we'll build you anything you want.
Appreciate it. Dick?
I'd like to compliment you on the design. I think, that part there looks great. But on the price tag, I'm a little bit taken back, I would say. And I think that, Phil, I'd say that I would disagree with you on, we would be looking to bid this, whether it be in pieces or in whole. And I think we have to step back, and I think you brought up some good thoughts as to, maybe thinking a little bit out of the box and looking at this project in every way we can, because I cannot, for a 9-hole muni, support a $2.6 million clubhouse and storage shed. I just think it doesn't make sense. And I understand the issues that you brought up, the 400-foot drive and all of that creates certain issues and all of that. But, I think that, there's a lot of other dollars, or a lot of other items in town that these dollars could go towards that would be better spent, all right? I would like to see us, perhaps go forward with, getting kind of a working group, whatever you want to call it, a couple of, times getting together and really airing it out. Like for the golfers, they're going to want, the Cadillac, all right? And for, the fiscally responsible people who don't golf, well, give them a trailer. There's going to be somewhere in between there. There's got to be something that works. And I guess, as far as that whole thought process and how we go forward, for someone who's been through design engineering projects over the years, you know, I understand in talking with Jim today, we're subjected to prevailing wage, so that probably adds 25% to the project right there. Where if we were to, you know, on one hand, we have the maintenance building, which is a butler building, basically, as I understand it, okay? So that, as far as on-site labor, I would think keeps it down to a minimum. Why wouldn't we do the clubhouse in the same fashion? Or, you know, I'm just saying there's thoughts like that, you know, we should be looking to, you know, drive the cost down and understand what the finished product should be. I mean, do we really need, you know, a bar with food service? Can we realistically think that a vendor's going to come in there, and you look at the numbers on a daily basis, and I don't know if it really supports a vendor being in there and being able to make money. And I just don't know. But, you know, again, I think in a 9-hole muni, it's not like people are sitting down like they're at Salem Country Club and, you know, enjoying, you know, all the amenities that go with it. This is kind of basic golf. It's, let's have a beer afterwards, let's grab a hot dog, end of story. So, you know, I think we're kind of, I think we have to step back a little bit and see how we can better approach this. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, John, that seems to be a consensus amongst the board here that we may want to, between now and April, I don't think anyone's comfortable bringing this forward at this point, and seeing maybe keep working on a reduction in scope, or what alternatives we have that might work in reducing the price tag on
Yep.
this, because it's a beautiful design. It's exactly what we asked you to do. Of course, we didn't anticipate these kind of price tags with it, and the site work is driving the cost up. I mean, the buildings are right where we thought they'd be, and it's the amount of site work that's there, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with compliance with your Concom and utilities. But why don't we work on this? I like Dick's suggestion that we might put a little group together and discuss alternatives and other options we have there, and whether or not we can get that down to a reasonable number. And I still think it's a good idea, if we do have a consensus on what we might like to do between now and April, to actually get a bid out if we can. I know it takes a couple of months to put all that together, but we'll have 6 months of time to work on it, and then we'll have some hard numbers hopefully for the April town meeting if we.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Which makes more sense, because then we can
Yeah.
come to the residents and say, this is what we have. If you want to do all 3 pieces of it, this is what it's going to cost. You know, if we wanted just to do 2 pieces of it and save some money, this is what we could do.
Yeah,
We
that
could still live with this, you know, and this is what we're looking at. Because to tell you the truth, the trailer that's up there works pretty well. You know, it's not ideal, but it works. The bathrooms don't work that well. You know, it's not an ideal situation for anybody, and we'd like to have running water and some amenities up there that make it a little nicer for people to use. We got to find something in the middle that is, it's, you know, you don't need the Mercedes Benz, and you don't want the hut. We want to get something that's workable up there. So let's work on that over the next few months, and I think in the next couple of weeks maybe we'll get a little study group together and talk about what we can do to move this along.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
I think the first one we have to talk to is conservation.
Yeah.
Because if we can leave that as a permeable surface and not have to put in all the underground drainage and treatment and storage, it will drive down those site costs immeasurably.
Right.
And if we can do that, then maybe we're still talking about this building and the storage building, because the site costs are nowhere close to what we're thinking of. Betty wasn't around this afternoon, and even if she was, I don't think she'd give me an answer telling me that I could do that.
Well, and
but-
she wasn't available this evening because she's over with the personnel
Right.
board. But, so is there, anyone have an idea on what that might be, just ballpark, as far as what Concom has dictated for this project?
Well, we'd have to go back to COMCOM, because now we're putting two buildings on the site, and we dropped the grades down, 8 feet. So we've done some dramatic things to their approval. So that would be, I mean, I would want to get that behind behind us. I'd want to be able to have the Conservation Commission approve all this. So we can be doing that along with looking at how we're gonna decrease the cost of the building. And if in fact, what we're doing now by not bringing all this extra soil to the site, and the engineering for the, reduces the cost, and maybe COMCOM's response to that is not quite as critical as the drastic changes that we're doing to the site. That would also reduce the cost of the site work. So the first step would be to make sure that we can actually build 2 buildings on this site, get their permission to do that, get their order of conditions, and then I guess move forward with some directions that would maybe make the golf club building a tad bit smaller, maybe make the equipment building smaller. I mean, we were very articulate about what was gonna be going in that building. I mean, we did every single piece of equipment and then gave that a piece of equipment an assigned area and came up with the footprint of the building. However, Donnie has some stuff stored there that maybe doesn't need to be stored under a roof. You know, maybe it could be stored with a top over it somewhere else, and reduce the size of that building. If you're at a point right now where you really can't afford what we have in front of you, then everything has to sort of have a sort of a belt tightening up type of position. So not just reducing the square footage of the golf club building, but also look at reducing the square footage of the storage building.
But if we have to do all the site work that's required down there, making the buildings a little bit smaller is just nibbling around the edges.
Right.
Because there are built-in costs to build a building, and taking, 500 square feet is not gonna save us $200,000-300,000, it's gonna save us a fraction of that.
Your
So
per,
it
your per
seems-
square foot cost does not go down that much. yeah.
It would seem to me, Jim, that what you pointed out, the first priority is
Sit down with
getting together
conservation.
with Concom and figuring out
Yeah.
how we
I
reduce.
mean,
some of
I
the site
had
work.
discussions with Betty about splitting it into 2 buildings, and her response was, as long as we were outside the 50-foot buffer, she didn't think conservation would have an issue with the second building. But to not do any of the site work, or not pave it, or not put in drainage, leave it a permeable surface, that's a pretty big change. So we're gonna have to go back and really have a long discussion with them. If they say, yeah, you can leave it, as a permeable surface, and it will infiltrate naturally instead of the impermeable surface where we have to capture it, treat it, and release it at a certain level. Again, that's a lot of what we're doing down there. Between the paving and the drainage and that's a lot of those site costs. And I'm, not being in my office, I don't have the old costs that I can't, but I can dig those up.
Yeah. We can work on that, but we gotta find out if it's an option.
Okay.
So, when we find out that first. Wayne, do you have a question, Wayne? A comment? You wanna go up to the podium? and- For what? For this one? We thought it'd be around 1.4.
Wayne Perry, Trickett Road, Linfield. I have a suggestion that instead of just working and trying to put up proposals, you use Combis first to put out an RFI, request for information. Put up the problem you're trying to solve with the golf course. They'll send it out, and you may get some good ideas. You can do this. You don't need, you can do this ahead of time while working on your proposals, and you might get some clever person with some green solutions and save you some money for that access road.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne, that's a great idea. Thank you. Any more questions, comments? Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thank you. We look forward to.
We'll be discussing this in depth soon. Next item on the, we're gonna be talking about the request to park commercial vehicles in a residential neighborhood. This is a request that came in to town hall. There's a film crew that wants to shoot a movie down off the end of Elizabeth Way. And in order to do that, they need to park their equipment trucks on the circle of Elizabeth Way, and they're asking for permission to do that. Jim, you want?
Yeah, Jimmy Lou from the production company is
Yeah.
here. What the request is, they don't know the timing of when they will be there. It's dependent upon other things that are going on. So they may have to bring the vehicles in after 6 PM. And they're not allowed to do that under the bylaw without the Board of Selectmen's permission. So they need permission from the board to have the vehicles there between 6 PM and 6 AM. And I'll let Jimmy explain a little bit better what they're doing. He's from the production company. Just for the record, I did work with him in another iteration. He's been very good to work with, so.
Yeah, we have these, yeah.
I think we have the map, though.
Yeah, this is the second page, I didn't have the second page. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thanks.
Let's try that again.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name's Jimmy Luke. This is Ollie American.
Hi.
We're working on the movie Bridgewater, and we're doing some filming at Elizabeth Way. And we are here to see whether we could potentially park some work trucks beyond 6 p.m. Right now, our scheduled date to film there is Thursday, October 13th. And if according to plan, we're going to be filming there, from like 10 a.m. to around 6 p.m. It wouldn't be an issue. But if our schedule changes due to a rain reason or whether our schedule pushes because of some other reason with actors or something like that, we might need to come in a little later. And we also would need 1 day of prep and 1 day of wrap, which would be the Wednesday, October 12th, and Friday, October 14th. And for those 2 days, we could work within the the daytime of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., so that wouldn't be an issue. We started talking to neighbors on Elizabeth Way, gave them all flyers on Elizabeth Way, and Oliver and I also went to talk to people face to face and asked them to see if there would be any issues if we did come later in the evening. And we've talked to all but maybe 2 houses on the bottom of the Elizabeth Way, and everyone said that they'd be fine with us coming in late.
Okay.
On the second page of our packet, it shows a little bit about where we would also be parking these trucks.
Can I just ask, so you said you spoke with all but 2 houses towards the bottom?
Yes, there is.
One of them's 10 Elizabeth Way, and the other one is directly across the street from 10. They've received a flyer that has the information on it with the times and our personal contact info. We will return to try and catch them while they're home.
When do you need the decision by us? And just because I think that's important, at least seem like those 2 neighbors will be impacted.
Absolutely.
We
yeah,
just
unfortunately, we only have so much time, so much manpower to be able to send someone physically over there to knock on doors, and we just haven't been able to catch them.
Yeah, we do meet again on Monday. Perfect. And we have a very short time frame between this meeting and our next. So I think it might be preferable to hear from the neighbors to make sure that there isn't any conflict, particularly the 2 closest ones that you're talking about.
Yeah, sure.
That are directly impacted by this. We want to make sure that they don't have a problem. I'd also like to hear from the chief of police to make sure he's on board with this.
Sure.
Yeah. Jim?
We met with Jimmy and Dave, and then we met separately with Chief Tetrell.
Okay.
Chief Breen is okay with it, with the detail.
Yeah.
The detail will be stationed where you see in the map to keep it from going down there. Chief Tetrell actually removed some of the trucks around because Chief Tetrell wanted to make sure that a fire truck can get down there and turn around.
Right.
But Chief Breen was okay with it as long as it was a detail, and he was requesting as much notice as he could possibly get to schedule the detail, but he was all right with it.
So the layout of the trucks now is per Chief Tatro?
Correct.
So we can still get the fire truck down
Correct.
there? Okay.
Chief Breen was not concerned about the location of the trucks as much as making sure there's a detail and they could have access.
Okay.
He also was wondering what
is-
they were serving at the food trucks.
Is Monday night still give you plenty of time to do what you want to do?
Do you think you may end up here between now and then? I guess is the
No, I
question.
don't think so. The only reason we would come here early is if it rains, if we're filming outside, and if it rains, we're filming inside this entire week, so I don't think that'd be an issue.
Okay. Because I would like to have the neighbors have a chance to voice particularly any objections to this.
Sure.
So if we can get in touch with those neighbors between now and then, or if they want to come in front of the board, I'd like to give them that chance.
Sure.
Because there are some large trucks and it's directly in front of their houses and I don't know if they have an issue with it or not. So it'd be a good opportunity for them to come where we have such a short time frame here, as long as it's okay and works. Dick?
I guess I'd add, why wouldn't we have, because there's so few homes involved, just have each of the homeowners sign off on it so that we know, rather than it being represented to us, that they're okay with it.
Right.
And we haven't had anyone show up in opposition to it, but on the other hand, I would think it would be an easy task just to say, can you sign off on this, and then the board's comfortable that the neighborhood's fine with it.
I agree with that.
Good
That's
idea.
a good point.
Sure.
That should take you no time at all.
Sure.
Yes, we can
Sure.
do that.
Yeah, get some signatures from the neighbors.
Do you have an opinion on how far up the road we should obtain signatures? We were
Can I
kind of
just-
focusing at the bottom there.
Quick question just regarding the trucks. I know it's a rather long driveway. You can't utilize that driveway for the trucks?
The concern with the trucks going down that driveway is when they would leave, they would need to back up all the way, and that just seems could be kind of dangerous. Would make a lot more noise if they're backing up and beeping. We just wanted to avoid any sort of.
Also, if those trucks are in the driveway, you're not getting public safety vehicles up to that house.
Yeah,
if something
They're gonna be
happens.
blocking the driveway.
Yeah, they're
The
blocking
trucks are also
drivers.
fairly heavy, you worry about damaging the driveway.
Mhm.
Yep. So,
I mean, it would seem to me that from where it's marked police detail and to the left, those homes are the impacted homes.
so from Taylor Road down to the bottom of the cul-de-sac, it's 4 or
Yes.
5 houses.
Yeah, that's all there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's only a few houses there, so if we could get them all to sign off on it, that would be great.
Sure,
Okay?
absolutely.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so we'll
I
see you again
just
Monday
for the
night.
board, I did have the opportunity to work with Jimmy on a different project when I was in Norwell.
Mhm.
They were very responsive, they were very good to work with, so when he tells you what he's gonna do, he's pretty good about doing it.
Great. I appreciate that.
Thank
Good
you.
to know.
Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
Good luck.
See you Monday. We'll see you Monday.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You don't wanna be in the movie.
You don't want to be in this movie.
It is like watching the heat driving. They just do the same thing.
Our next item tonight will be a disclosure of a conflict of interest by our ZBA chairman. This became to us from Tom Aylward, who is the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals. He's filed a disclosure under Chapter 268A, Section 19 of the general laws, asking for the board's opinion on whether or not he could sit on the board while he's also hearing a case that he's brought forward to the board. And we've had town council give his opinion on it. I also spoke with the general counsel of the State Ethics Commission on their opinion of this, and we have the state ethics laws regarding this. A chairman of a board or even a member of a board cannot sit on the board while they're hearing a case being brought to the board by that member. So it is against the law, based on state law, and his request that we entertain letting him sit as a member of the zoning board to hear a case brought to the board by himself doesn't make a lot of sense. But I would think that it wouldn't be allowed in any case that I can imagine. I've asked the town council. He says he can't think of any reason why he would ever allow something like that. And general counsel for the state has also agreed that there's no situation where we would ever want to allow that. So I would respectfully look to deny this request under Section 19, and I'd like to get my board members' opinion on it.
Mr. Chairman, if I just may,
Yeah.
I think what he's asking for is he's not asking to sit and hear the case. He's asking to be able to attend the hearing and participate as a citizen of the butter, but not actually be a ZBA member sitting and hearing the case.
Yeah, you don't need a permission. You don't need permission from the Board of Selectmen to do that.
He needs permission from the board to actually testify at the zoning board of appeals.
Well, that's not what this disclosure asks. Disclosure asks if he can participate.
This is an incorrect form
It's
that
an-
he's filed.
Then he's filed the incorrect form if that's what he's asking.
Right.
But according again to to the general counsel for the State Ethics Commission, they don't need our permission to do that.
He can step
He-
down into
he-
the
he-
audience.
He can recuse himself and sit in the audience as any resident can, and hear and testify and speak to his case. So what he's put in front of us, this is asking us if he can participate as a board member, which we would have to deny.
The statute wouldn't allow that.
That's right, statute does not allow that. He already has the right to sit in front of the board as a resident. And as far as anything I can find, there's no approval process for the Board of Selectmen to give him that right, because he already has it.
He has a direct financial impact, interest in the matter, being the abutter.
Right.
So he would not be able to sit.
And when he sits in the audience and perhaps testifies, he has to declare himself as a resident, speaking as a resident and not as a member of the board.
Right.
Right.
That's correct.
He has to make it clear that he's not speaking as a member of the board.
Right, so in that case, I would take a motion to deny his request under Section 19 as presented to us.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item, well, this one's been tabled. There was a request for liquor licenses. That's been pulled off the table, and it is not going to be presented. That was a request. We also have, just to bring up the subject, we have, the town has used up or given out every liquor license we have. We don't have any on hand. We do have one we believe is coming back from the Fat Cactus. Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that going to be at our next meeting? Yeah,
That's correct.
that's correct. Okay, so we'll be asking for that back, so we'll have one liquor license in hand. The reason for any advance notice would be it takes several months to get the state legislature to act on this and actually give us permission to issue additional liquor licenses. So if there's any reason or demand for these, that we would like, it makes more sense to have one available. So we'll have that one, and then we'll look and see in between now and the April town meeting if any other additional requests need to be met. And at that time, we can apply to the state and have the town approve that at town meeting, or at least vote on it. Okay? Next, we have the closing of the town warrant. Do we want to discuss any of these other items before we do that? Jim, should we talk about the amendment to the Article 8 before we close the warrant?
There's probably a couple of things we should just touch on real quick.
Yeah.
Just find my water here. On the Airbnb articles, we did have an amendment to that, where we struck, I don't know if I can find it.
I got it here, Jim. Go on.
We struck the tourist home, boarding, or lodging house. Is that what we're striking?
Correct, that'd be the additional
That was
wording.
in addition to what we already spoke about.
Mhm.
The thought was that clarifies what we're trying to do a little bit better. So that was added by council.
So under section 4.1.1.3, we are striking the words tourist home, boarding, or lodging house as permitted uses of homes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Should we reapprove this as the amendment, or just add it in with the?
You, basically, if you approve
Warrant.
the warrant, you're approving it as
Yes.
amended.
Okay, great.
Jim, that fine in Article 9, that's the highest we can go, correct?
That's what we had talked about previously with council, that's correct.
Was there any other amendments that we should talk about before we go through the
On
warrant?
that was all the amendments to that. We did add an Article 5. That is some money for the DPW. There's a couple projects that need to be done. When the town expanded the high school, It did the parking lot to the far left as you look at the high school.
Mhm.
If you go into that parking lot, there was a drainage swale installed that is right next to one of the monitoring wells for the high school storage system.
Yep.
That monitoring well has to be moved. Also, when we built the fields, there was another drainage swale that was built down by the fields that is also adjacent to a monitoring well for the septic system up there. So those both have to be moved. That is a DEP order of conditions, so that has to be done. We're also going to include some money in there for the bleachers at the football field at the middle school. The DPW has taken the seats off and taped those off, but they are a hazard and they need to be taken down, I think ASAP.
I agree.
And finally, the treatment plant at the middle school, the fire suppression system in there is not up to code, not working correctly. We think that needs to be done sooner rather than later. So that is funding for those 3 projects, a total of about $40,000.
Great. I also see that you added another article at the, towards the end, Article 12.
12, 13, and 14. I don't have a number on 12. That was from the Fields Committee. They may be seeking some funds to start the engineering process for the remainder of the Fields project that we need to do. That will help us get better numbers for the Springtown meeting as to what those projects are going to cost. And then Article 13 and Article 14 came out of our discussion of the Municipal Modernization Act that allows the Board of Selectmen some ability to set speed limits in different parts of the town. So we're accepting the provisions of those acts to give the board that authority.
Great. Okay. Any other items to add to the warrant? Any other changes? No? Well, then I take a motion to now close the warrant.
I make a motion to now close the warrant, Linfield Town warrant.
Second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now we can go through them one at a time, make our recommendations, or defer if we don't have our numbers yet.
Article 1 will be deferred. We actually do have some bills from a prior fiscal year, the computer bills, and Julie is in the process of putting those together.
Okay.
Same with Article 2. That'll be the transfers. We're working on that. We should have all this for you next week. Article 3, it's not my intention at this point to put any money into OPEB.
Okay.
Article 4,
Jim, just if I may, so it's not an intention to put money there, so
we can actually remove Article 3 and we can remove Article 4 at this
So we'll
point.
strike both those articles.
Strike both those articles.
Neither are required. or-
Bob's rolling his eyes. He's gonna have to get this all done, but strike Article 3 and Article 4.
So we defer 1 and 2, strike 3, 4.
Yeah.
Right. Article 5 again would be $40,000.
40,000 for the repairs that we need.
Yep.
Okay. So I take a motion to recommend Article 5.
So moved.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Article 6, one of the factors not being in the office, this is to expend additional insurance funds for the highway bond behind the town hall because of the fire. It is more than the current $20,000 limit. The particular section of the Municipal Modernization Act hasn't gone into effect yet, so we need to approve spending those funds. I don't have the number, but it's all insurance funds. It's just a flow through at this point. You gotta wait for me to shut mine off, Dick, because we have too many on.
No, I was just curious why it
Good.
wasn't working.
They unplugged yours.
They shut you off.
But I'd make a motion to recommend Article 6.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Article 7 is the transfer of land for the library at Reedy Meadow.
This is the next step in the library process,
Correct.
so then they can then apply for the grant at the state level?
This is to give them control of the property, that's correct.
Right. And then they have to have the control of it to be able to apply for the grant,
That's correct.
all right?
And this will end up with town council drafting an agreement, I think we discussed.
We'll have to draft some sort of agreement or have some sort of plan to how to maintain that while they're in the
For the
process,
maintenance,
and that's not a problem.
Right, and if the grant doesn't get approved or the project doesn't move forward, then it'll revert back to the
We'll
town.
just have another vote to
We'll
revert
reverse
to
it
the town.
back.
Yeah, we'll have to reverse
And
it.
the Board of Selectmen would take that vote. Is that a town meeting vote or Board of
That'll be
Selectmen?
town meeting also.
Okay. I take a motion to recommend Article 7.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Article 8 and 9 are your zoning articles relative to the Airbnb.
Take a motion to recommend Article 8.
So moved.
Second.
Article 9.
All those
Uh,
in favor, aye.
And take a motion to recommend Article 9.
So moved.
Second.
Article 10?
Yeah, you actually need
Yeah,
to,
we
first,
do.
you can take the vote yet.
Well,
just
you
had a
can
motion
do
and
8
second.
and 9.
I did.
8 and 9.
You didn't.
You didn't actually take the vote.
Yeah, you didn't actually take the vote.
Oh.
That's what
All those in favor?
Aye.
I wrote it down that we did.
I know. I was prompted.
You're moving ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, Article 10 is what we discussed relative to the flooding problem behind the middle school field. This is to get the authority from the MBTA to do some work out there and take out actually the culvert and open that up so we have some drainage from back there.
Yeah, we haven't had that meeting yet with the MBTA, but I know Brad Jones is working on
He's
putting that
working on it,
together, and
yep.
we're gonna get that face to face very shortly. And I'd like to be able to move on that as quick as we can, so I'd take a motion to recommend Article 10.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I mean, but this piece of legislation would, I mean, pretty much avoid the need to do that, right?
I think we would they're still gonna want something that's gonna protect their ample areas. Article 11 was requested by the town clerk to do away with the late penalty for dog licensing.
So they're doing away with the $10 fee, I get it.
Right.
All right, take a motion to recommend Article 11.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Article 12 will be deferred as we don't have any numbers from the field committee, North Bork. And then Articles 13 and 14, articles the board wanted submitted relative to setting the speed limits based upon the changes in the Municipal Modernization Act.
Okay, take a motion to recommend Article 13.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Take a motion to recommend Article 14.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So we'll take care of these other 4 or 5 items when we get closer to town meeting. We probably won't have those until the meeting, before the meeting, Jim?
I'll hope to have some of them for next week, but
Yeah.
the
we'll-
final numbers will be.
Will you sign on that?
So whatever we have on Monday night, we'll address, and then we'll leave the rest for the meeting before town meeting. Beautiful. Okay, appointment of election officers. Trudy Reed, our town clerk, has asked us to approve some election officers for the November 8th elections. We have Elizabeth Basile, Colin Day, Susan Cullen, Carol McKendrick, Shirley Siciliano, Wendy LaRovere, Ellen Gianetti, Ann Patrickman, Kelly Foley, and Phyllis Tripp. Take a motion to approve these election officers.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of the election officers as presented by the chairman.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to thank them for volunteering. Next, we have the Needham Road zoning update. Well, as you can tell, we've added a warrant article on there. And we hope to address that. The ZBA is going to be addressing this matter on what date?
November.
No, it's in November?
The November meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a November meeting, which I believe is the 11th or 12th in that area? We get a specific date? You know,
I think it was posted last time.
it may still not be posted.
It's not posted
Usually
yet.
it's the first or second Tuesday, which would be the first of the 8th.
It's an important meeting because the changes we're making to the bylaw that hopefully get approved at town meeting would limit what type of the Airbnb rentals at all. And the decision by the ZBA in the November meeting would have some lasting effects only to that one home. And if they declare that what he was doing was allowed under our bylaws, then he would be grandfathered. If they rule that he was in violation of our bylaws, then he would no longer be able to do it at all. So it's an important meeting, and I'd urge anybody that has any interest in that they show up at that meeting and voice their opinion. Any other comments on that? No? Okay. Community compact application discussion. Mr. Boudreau.
Mr. Chairman, what would you like to discuss? The community compact, which we applied for in the last fiscal year, we received 2 grants, one for $22,000 to work on our capital plan. There's actually a meeting this week with the consultant and the CFAC to get that rolling along further. We also received a $5,000 grant to help with our open checkbook, open government. I had some conversations with the state today. We're going to get rolling on that probably next week and get that project underway. But they've changed the grant project for this year. They've broken it into 3 different groups. The first one is a best practices program, which we applied for under last year. Because we were awarded a grant last year, we are not eligible this year to receive another grant out of the best practices.
Okay, sure.
There is a technology grant, which we would be eligible for. And there's also a efficiency and regionalization grant program, which is to try to provide us incentives to regionalize or work with other towns. I spent some time today looking at some things that maybe would be worthwhile for us to apply for on the technology side. I also talked to some department heads. A couple things that are on the radar that I need to flesh out a little bit. Chief Tetrald had come to us previously, come to me, it was part of a capital request, to replace the copper wire that runs out to our repeater sites for our radios with fiber. And that was quite an expensive project, and that's something that would fall under the technology. I need to sit down with him. Our building department has what used to be called GOTMS. It's now Excella, which is a permitting software, and it's only in-house that we use it. The software, though, has the availability where people would be able to go online, apply for their building permits, pay for their building permits, track their building permits online. And there's all sorts of functionality that we could put into some program like that. So the people aren't calling saying, hey, where's my building permit? You just go online and say, it's your building permit, you find it yourself. It's at the gas inspector, it's at the Board of Health. Mm-hmm. I then talked to Charlie Richter about what kind of work we needed to do on our GIS system to bring that up and make that more user-friendly, not only for us, but to tie in the assessors data and put something online that people could search some of that database that we don't have the ability to do now. And then we talked some more and thought, well, maybe those 2 projects would actually go together, because the GOTMS, or the Excella, can actually sit over a GIS platform and incorporate all that stuff. So right now, that's kind of where I'm leaning. It's going to take us a little while to put that together. The grant applications for this are kind of rolling. Right now it says March 1st that they'll open up. I think they'll open before that, but we're going to bring in some people from Acela and Charlie and the building department and kind of look at what opportunities there are for us, mm-hmm. and what something like that would cost, and maybe that'd be a kind of an overall global grant that would give us our GIS and give us our online tracking and permitting and all that stuff. There's also a component for the DPW that they can do their permits online, so people can apply for road opening, gas permits, all that stuff right online and pay online. I will caution the only drawback of paying online is you have to use a credit card. So if the permit's $10, if you pay with a credit card, it costs $11 or $12, because statutorily, as everybody knows, when you pay with a credit card, the credit card company takes their VIG off the top. So when you pay Target $29.99, Target's getting $28.99. We can't do that. Mm-hmm. If our bill is $10, if it's $25, we have to get paid the amount of our bill. We can't discount it and pay the credit card company. So when you pay with a credit card, it's the cost of whatever service you're doing plus a fee for processing.
Whatever the credit card fee is,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you can pay with credit cards now. As you can probably imagine, it's not real popular because, again, it's, whatever you're paying plus a fee.
So Jim, all these are under technology.
They would all fit under technology.
Okay, how many of these can we apply for?
One.
Just one. So we have to pick the one we want.
That's
Or,
why-
like you said, if we can combine.
That's why I think
Yeah.
we were trying to want to combine them into one project. I
Right.
think doing that, it's a competitive grant. I think it's a bigger project. It's more efficiency. It's more what they're looking for than just us, bringing our GIS online or bringing our permitting online. It's actually combining those all into something useful that DPW used, the building department we could use, but residents could also use it. Builders, I've seen the program in the past, builders go on, they file their paperwork previously, their insurance, their licenses, so they can go right in online, fill out all their building permits, not have to come in. And it's a pretty slick program, it really is.
Great. Let us know what they say. Is there anything under the efficiency that caught your eye?
I really didn't have a whole chance to look at that. We have a very successful regionalization program with Wakefield for our building department. I think everybody that works very well. I think we're very happy with Jack and the other inspectors. We can look at expanding that into some other departments.
Yeah.
And try to
Town
share some
administrator,
overall
something like
service.
that?
Yeah, but if you do 2 towns, you're gonna get paid for 2 towns, which is so. Yeah. But I think we're better off at this point looking at the technology side of it,
Yeah,
because we
I
have
agree.
some ideas where it was the other thing we'd have to kind of start from scratch and try to build something. So
Great.
There's been a number of people that have suggested the GIS. I mean, that's something that I think we really, it has some real benefits for the town, so that sounds good.
Great. Thanks, Jim. We now have a public comment period. Anybody have something to bring forward in front of the board? Anybody? No? Okay, thank you. Yeah, Bruce.
Bruce Siegel from 5 Lills Way. I'm also the, as you know, Veteran Services Officer for the town. And I'm going to guess that the board members are aware of the issue that relates to the existing war memorial. I believe an email was sent by Jason Kimball indicating that somebody had tried to remove it a few days ago. I got a call today from Brett Potter from the DPW saying that he had to remove it, that both sides, both the left and the right side, were close to coming off, and he felt it was appropriate to remove them. He put them in the DPW garage, and I think it's something that we need to think about for the future security for the War Memorial. The new War Memorial Committee is meeting this week for the first time on Thursday evening, so I'm sure we'll be discussing it. But I think it's something that we need to think about as far as some sort of surveillance or security issues to prevent that from happening in the future.
Great. Thank you, Bruce.
You're welcome.
We have several town use facilities, a couple of liquor license requests. The first is a private birthday party on Town Common. Looking for November 13th from 1 to 3. A first birthday party. We will be using the meeting hall space, but would like to have a pony for 2 hours on the Common. So I'd like to have 25 people for a first birthday party with pony rides on the Common. It's, I don't see, the DPW has not signed off on this yet. Jim, are we gonna have someone address this? I know we kind of, interim, I would think be Charlie Richter.
I'll address it. The DPW is not in favor of this.
Okay,
Also, as a rule, the town does generally not allow private use of the common, particularly in an event like this. You're gonna have a pony on the common, giving pony rides, and don't think that everybody driving by with little kids not gonna stop and wanna try to get a pony ride. And to be told, I'm sorry, it's a private pony ride, no one else can use it, but the board has, to the best of my knowledge, never allowed a use of the common for a private event like this. Charlie has concerns about the use of the common, what the horse would do to the common, parking again, car stopping, kids jumping out wanting to ride the pony, not to mention who's gonna clean up after the pony. I'm sure, I'm just gonna whip it into the street, and then the DPW will have to come get it. But, you know, this is one that the board has historically not approved in the past.
Well, it seems like a happy occasion for the first year birthday. I mean, could they use the property across the street, that little patch there? And they have had activity there.
Yeah, the area over, is that the cultural, the historic center, what's the building over? It's a historical center, that's right. And, in that little patch there, that's where they park the cars during the car show, and they put the
Yeah.
games during the parks.
Right, but those events are all open to the public.
Right, right.
Again, this is a private event. I don't know how you tell you know, if one of you guys is driving by with your grandchildren or Chris with his children and, you know, you got 2 3-year-olds who look at the pony and you stop to get a pony ride and, sorry, this is a private no pony rides. It's gonna be, I mean, I wouldn't wanna have to deal with it and I will have to deal with it. If that's what happens, but, it's a door that I'm not sure the board wants to open to allow private events like this to use the common or the space adjacent to it. But again, it's up to you. Bob, are you aware of any time we've done this in the past?
One time I think there was an exception was when a returning, veteran was returning from overseas and they let people put tables out in the common to have, they were using the meeting house, they let them eat a meal at a table outside the meeting house.
No ponies.
No livestock.
Horses.
Could have it over at the Kimball's house.
We could do that. There's been ponies over there.
I think what Jim is saying is on mark. I mean, you really do open a door with allowing, public space to be used for private parties. I don't know, I hesitate. On the other hand, I understand it's a, birthday party for a 1-year-old and so forth, but,
Does the application include request for police detail or closing the roads?
no, it doesn't anticipate that.
Because they would have to. That would be additional cost for the resident.
I mean, I'd have to get Chief Breens on that. For 25 people at the meeting house and on the common, you would say you don't need a police detail, you're not closing the roads.
Right, typically that
But-
doesn't happen.
Then you get a logistical problem. You get a logistical problem going from the meeting house, if we allowed them over in front of the historical building to get over there.
Get all the
Now
kids
you're
across the
crossing
street.
a fairly busy street. Might not be an ideal situation, especially for families with little kids. Any other comment?
Tough saying no to for a year-old kid.
I know.
You're not saying
Yeah.
no to the year-old, you're saying no to his parents.
Yeah.
You only say no to the pony.
The ponies, they can still have the party, that's true.
They're allowed on the common, they can go out on the common and,
Of course.
use the common. It just can't be exclusive use is the issue.
What do you mean by what is exclusive use? So
You
it's,
can go to the party if you want.
I'll be busy that day.
We don't prevent them from walking on the common or sitting outside but they can't rope off a portion, they can't say you can't come in here, they can't say, the common's closed. It's
Well,
still
they're
open
not
to
doing
public
that though,
use.
Jim.
No, but they're having a private use of the common by this pony on the common that no one else can use but them. I just
They
think
put a
it's,
stipulation if the public wants to use it, then they have to.
do you have any idea how big the line for pony rides?
I didn't know
Be at the common.
ponies were in such demand.
We'll see Bruce in line.
I didn't realize ponies was gonna be the most controversial part of the agenda this year.
Yeah, I know.
It's a guilt, that's the part.
Right.
It's the guilt.
Well, I'd be willing to approve the party, but would restrict it to, without the pony ride. I think that would set a bad precedent.
I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Do we have to? I don't think we have to even approve. This is the town meeting house, though, right?
The meeting house you don't approve, it just
Yeah.
would be the use of the pony on the common.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, so,
kill the pony.
If the woman calls you, just say it was Bob's fault. I'll be making that happy phone call.
sorry, Bob. Second is, someone from Veteran Services has applied for Veterans Day. Of course, it's November 11th from 10 to 1, use of the town common. Bruce is here. We've had some great services over there and some wonderful ceremonies, and I look forward to it again this year. I take a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the use of the town common on November 11th for Veterans Day observance.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Friday this year.
And Bruce, thank you for doing everything you do on this. Thank you. One-day liquor licenses. We have the Linfield Art Guild event at the Linfield Knights of Columbus. This is going to be from 7 to 9 on November 10th. Any comments or questions? The chief has signed off on this. They usually do a nice job running these events over there. Take a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the one-day liquor license November 10th, 2016 for Knights of Columbus, the Linfield Art Guild.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the last one, we have the private party also at the Knights of Columbus on November 12th. Looks like about 50 people coming. Again, it's signed off by the chief. Take a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the private party, the use of the Knights of Columbus on November 12th for one-day liquor license.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
The last item we have tonight is we're going to go into executive session under General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss collective bargaining strategy for which an open discussion may adversely affect the town's negotiating position. Those in favor of going into executive session, roll call. Chris?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
And I. It's unanimous. We will be entering executive session,
Not to return to open session.
not to return to open session. So thank you and good evening.
Thank you.